Hello listeners, I'm your host Amelie, and the story I'm about to tell you today is a peculiar one. It's September 7th, 2010. The night was cold, the rain was a fine mist, and the school's fundraiser, one of the best events of the year at Redleaf Catholic College, had come to an end. It was truly a night to remember for the students, staff, and families who came along. Liana Mercy, a Year 12 student attending the college, was staying back at school to give a hand packing up with some of the other student team leaders. Now, what's important to visualize in this story is the corridor that the school has. It's this creepy, narrow corridor that leads to an abandoned office, and now it's used as storage space. Reporters say that the corridor has many miscellaneous items, such as photos of past students and the nuns that used to teach at the school several years ago, trophies, tennis rackets, uniforms, doll mascots, awards, etc. Sure, this sounds ordinary, but I want you to picture an old attic full of dust, spiders, and creepy dolls, and then picture it as a corridor instead. The photo of this podcast is actually the corridor in which Liana's disappearance took place. So our story begins with Liana being asked to go into this sketchy corridor. In an interview, it was said that she'd left her phone with one of her school friends. Liana Mercy was 18 years old, her birthday was late August, and she also just got her license. She was a very bright girl who dreamed of becoming a famous author, already working on a few books of her own. Her parents, Evelyn and Celia, were very supportive of their little girl, and as she was an only child, they were very protective over her. Liana was also a born leader. She was the co-captain of the college and loved being a part of the school community. It was around 10 past 10 that evening, and Liana was asked to put away some decorations into the corridor. Everyone was busy packing up quickly, but they were all having a great time and discussing the success of the evening. As Liana went to put away the decorations, the doors closed and locked behind her. From an interview with the girls who were there that evening, one of them said that she saw Liana go off to the corridor, and she said that Liana told her to look after her things. This is what she said in that interview. Let's listen now.
So, tell us, Maddie, you were close with Liana, yes? Did you see Liana walk away? Were you concerned at all when she didn't come back? Yeah, Liana and I were co-captains. Well, Liana told me to look after her things and that she was going to the storage room. I remember hearing a loud bang of doors closing, but it wasn't out of the ordinary. I went home a bit after she left, so I just left her stuff knowing she knew where it was. Oh, I left her a text too saying I'd left. So, were you not worried when she hadn't replied back? Of course I was worried, but wasn't it like her not to respond for a while? She always took forever to reply.
Maddie was the first suspect of the disappearance, but she had alibis stating where she was and backup statements of her close friendship with Liana. So Liana is stuck, and in disturbing security footage that was released a couple years ago, the truth is revealed about what happened that night. Here is what we know so far. With a loud bang, the heavy doors closed behind Liana. She puts down the decorations, and then as she goes to leave, she struggles to open the double doors. In the footage, you can see she's really struggling to open these goddamn doors, and after a minute of trying to get them open, she begins to bang on the doors and shout for help to get someone's attention.
Help! Help! Maddie, Mr. Law, anyone!
Liana searches in her pockets for her phone, but realizes she doesn't have it with her. She tries to find another door to exit, but finds none. 5 minutes go by and she's panicked, sitting against the door in tears. After building some hope inside her, she tries again to get someone's attention, also kicking, screaming, throwing herself against the door. An hour goes by, and no one has come to save Liana. From what we know, everyone had left the school by this point, and no one had heard her. To me, this is very strange, because surely someone would have heard her. I mean, the girl has lungs. If you watch the videos for yourself, you can hear how loud she is. So I did some digging and found other security footage from the hall, where the fundraiser was held at the school. After playing it over and over again, listening carefully, you hear nothing. No screaming, no banging on the doors. All you can hear is the people in the hall chatting and then seeing them leave. What surprised me more is that no one else needed to go into the storage room. I mean, wouldn't you think that there'd be other decorations or literally anything else that needed to be put away into that creepy corridor storage room? So Liana accepts that she's stuck, and she gets up to look at the photos in the room and the artifacts from when her school first opened in the early 1950s. In the footage, we can see her step back really fast. She gasps and looks around the room, petrified. What reporters say is that she read about the nun, Sister Mary. Sister Mary Jane Williams was rumoured to be the nun you'd prayed to avoid. Mary became a nun in her late 20s, urging that everyone should believe in the Word of God and threatening those who didn't practice Christian faith, they'd go to hell. Back then, this threat was horrifying, and it was known that she'd take students out of class and beat them till they bled if they fell out of line. Not long after Sister Mary began at the school, she was forced to leave, and days later found hanging dead on the altar at the local church. From photographs of the scene, the text we think Liana read was
1956, September 7th.
September 7th.
We remember our dedicated Sister Mary Jane Williams, full of passion and love. May she rest in peace, may her lessons live on.
Shocking, right? Why would her school still believe in the practices of this wicked Sister Mary? Scared and restless, Liana makes herself comfortable on the ground, finding an old blanket to keep her warm. The rain outside got heavier and thunder began to bellow in the night. As she lies on the ground crying, suddenly Liana sits up. In the security footage, all you can hear is the heavy rain from outside, but something definitely caught Liana's attention.
Who's there?
Her voice shaky and nervous. There was no response by the looks of it. She looks around, up and down the corridor, even up at the ceiling. Startled, she quickly covers her ears and brings her face to her knees. You can hear her whispering,
This isn't real, this can't be real. Go away!
I have watched and listened to the security footage several times, and I don't think I'm alone when I say you can hear really faint giggling in the background. This opens up many questions. Was Liana hearing voices? Was there someone else there that night that we don't know about? These questions are still to be answered. Approximately 7 minutes and 6 seconds go by, and all there is silence. Liana calms down her breathing in this amount of time, gets up and goes back to the closed doors. While shaking, heavy breathing and shoulders raised, she gradually extends her arm, slowly reaching for the door handle. Her hand placed on the silver handle, what seems to be hope rushing through her body, she is flung across the room, her body crashing into glass shelving. There's cuts all over her body and blood dripping from her forehead. Liana lies in agony, helpless, alone. Then the security footage cuts out for a split second and comes back on, and her body is gone. The mystery of Liana Mercy's disappearance still continues to this day. I mean, to me it's pretty obvious as paranormal activity, and she was definitely being haunted by that creepy Sister Mary nun. But I'll leave it up for you to decide. The search for Liana began that morning when the Redleaf police received a distress call from Liana's mothers at 2 a.m. when their daughter didn't return home. Her body is still yet to be found.